and welcome to the Red Leaf Card, your home for Canadian soccer news and views. My name is Jacob, and today we're going to be recapping the Forge FC match and parts of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and also the Vancouver Whitecaps situation that could be their last season with the Major League Soccer. So right now we're seeing of the CONCACAF Champions Cup as known. San Diego FC defeats Pumas in the aggregate score of 4-2. First leg of that matchup of Pumas and San Diego FC comes to 4-1, and the second leg, Pumas leads it with 1-0, but ends it with San Diego. So San Diego moves on, will be versing Toluca, the next Liga MX team. Club America versing Olimpia. In the first leg, becomes 2-1. Club America in the second leg becomes scoreless to make Club America move on to the next round. They'll be versing Defense Force or Philadelphia Union. As again, Forge FC coming in for the CONCACAF Champions Cup again repeatedly have been versing Liga MX teams in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So, as known, repeatedly losing to a Liga MX team. So, I noticed Bobby Smarionis has repeatedly said on the post-game matchup, probably if they make it to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, probably they might get Club America or one of the biggest Liga MX teams. They've been versing big Liga MX teams, and as known in the first leg, it was a scoreless matchup and was actually a good match. It was a good matchup for Forge FC, but in the second leg of the first half was a scoreless match, but Tigres goes all the way to pound Forge FC with 4 goals. But Forge FC gets a penalty kick goal and Brian Wright to score that penalty kick goal to make it 4-1. So Tigres will be versing FC Cincinnati or O&M Football Club in the round of 16 of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But again, we still have other Canadian Premier League teams trying to do their best, like for example Atletico Ottawa. It's really something that we want to see how Atletico Ottawa, as again, they want to be the best team in the Canadian Premier League and also be really competitive in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And I probably would say they might be that team to do that. And we've seen Calgary FC. We've seen them do really well. But again, they still did not do well to win a series of the aggregate score to move on to the next round. Right now, we will try to see if Atletico Ottawa could actually do that in this matchup with Nashville SC. And if Atletico Ottawa wins against Nashville, it's a big one for Atletico Ottawa fans to in the round of 16, because you have Inter Miami in the sense that you're going to be versing Lionel Messi. A lot of fans are going to be hyped for that one, but the biggest problem for Atletico Ottawa fans is that could they actually play this in home territory in this city of Ottawa? Right now, they won't be playing in Ottawa in their home matchup. They're going to be playing in Hamilton, and we've seen other Canadian teams in the Canadian Premier League not be playing at their home turf. We've seen Calgary FC. They've been playing in the Starlight Stadium. We've seen probably those situations. Now Atletico Ottawa not playing at home have to play at Hamilton Stadium. And if Atletico Ottawa has to move on to the next round, and they're going to be versing Inter Miami, and they're going to be playing somewhere else, not in Ottawa, that's the biggest problem. So, all the best for Atletico Ottawa at their home matchup, which will be in Hamilton, and hoping that they will be really competitive against Nashville SC. And speaking about the Canadian teams in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, we have Vancouver Whitecaps. It's not really a good situation that's coming in for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Right now, they're in this situation that some people say that the Vancouver Whitecaps might be their last season with B.C. Place and will not have a place to play at home. I would have to say this about the Vancouver Whitecaps is it might be the time for the Vancouver Whitecaps to think of that there's always this situation that if you can't find something that you can't even get a stadium of your own. As notice, the owners don't own BC Place. This is really a problem we're seeing with the Vancouver Whitecaps. And negotiations are coming all day long. Owners saying that this doesn't solve the situation for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Again, every time we see fans coming in, every single game, they still lose money every game at home. And you'll be thinking how to solve this, and they're asking for their own stadium. And now you look at saying they're trying to do that, but again, they're delaying that to make the stadium. So what is the problem here? Like, we see it every time about the city of Vancouver, in the province of BC. They want to help the Vancouver Whitecaps to stay. And the owners are still saying that we still stay in BC Place. We're still losing money out of it. And again, you're looking at 2026. This is the year that the FIFA World Cup is happening. And the Vancouver Whitecaps are going to have the month off of the FIFA World Cup. And that's basically losing money out of it. So now you're looking at the situation, oh, this is not going to work out with us. So now I think you would have to look at the situation that you need to make a stadium for the owners so that they live a better situation. But if they can't, it's probably the time that the owners would have to relocate to another city. And it's not going to be probably in the city somewhere in Canada, like Calgary or Edmonton or somewhere else. It's going to be probably like Las Vegas or somewhere else in the United States. And we're not seeing this happening in the Vancouver Whitecaps. We're also seeing it in Club de Foot Montreal. Some people would think that Club de Foot Montreal might relocate to Detroit, or in those kind of rumors. But again, some people are saying that it's not going to happen. But if situations go back and forth, that there might be a financial problem with Club de Foot Montreal, same thing as what's happening with the Vancouver Whitecaps, we might just see that Toronto FC is going to be the only Major League Soccer team. And like, there's always no words to think of what is the next option for these Canadian teams. There's always the option, I guess, there's always the option to go to an American city or go to another league is an option. But again, if people are going to be saying, hey, go to Canadian Premier League, probably go to the USL. USL might be an option, but again, it's a big question mark with the USL. I would think probably the Canadian Premier League would be a good option, but a lot of people don't want to see that happening. They don't want to see the Canadian League to be successful. Maybe they want to see it to be a development league for Canadian players to move to bigger leagues. And we're seeing that actually from Canadian soccer fans. We're seeing this mixed views by fans that what their opinion is to go to say, hey, let's decide to move this Major League Soccer team that's not doing really well, move to the Canadian Premier League and see how it goes. And again, you're going to see these fans complaining about, well, we're doing really well with this league. We're dominating. Well, you have Forge FC. You have Atletico Ottawa. They're dominating. They're doing really well in the Canadian Premier League. And they basically did well in the Canadian Championship. You look at Vancouver FC, for example. They actually made it to the finals. Being this Cinderella story. Being this favorite last place team. And now, again, this whole mix of emotions. Saying all this that we shouldn't be going to this league. We want, and I get it, this whole mix views, you want to be in, you want this Major League Soccer team. You only want to be in the Major League Soccer because it's good for us to have big name players. Like saying Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, probably Robert Lewandowski. And then sooner or later, you realize this is not, we see and view of. You look at, for example, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, for example, what his view was in his first season with LA Galaxy. He basically bashed the league itself, of their whole system. And I get the whole thing, that now we look at probably Major League Soccer might not be this dominated league in the United States. Now we're having a competition now with the United Soccer League, because now they have this system of promotion relegation in the upcoming years. And we might have this diverse fan base moving to shift on with the United Soccer League. And then later, where do you see the fans shift to? And that's really something that maybe Major League Soccer has to think of. That there might be now a new league that is going to dominate, but we have to wait and see that year to come if this league could affect Major League Soccer. And that's full time of the Red Leaf Card. You could follow us on X, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm your host, Jacob, subbing out.